what day was it that Nemesis turned 19? It was yesterday. It was December 13th, 2002. I think it'd be really cool to talk about that for a little minute. Katie, you were a toddler at the time.
I was about 6. Yeah, I didn't know what Star Trek was.
Such a youngster. I was already a professor too.
Holy cow. I'm so behind.
Muhammad, did you watch it the first day that it came out? Were you already like all about it?
I don't know if I watched it the first day. Definitely I watched it in the theater very shortly after it came out. I think I watched all of them, starting with Search for Spock in the theater, and probably Wrath of Khan too. So yeah, I'm sure I did. I feel like that movie doesn't get enough love. I think a lot of people, criticize it a lot and things like that. But actually, the plot is really good. In fact, I feel like there's a lot of parallels in the plot of it to Wrath of Khan. It's kind of the next generation version of Wrath of Khan in many respects.
What respects? I'm very curious to hear this.
Well, I mean, there is a Nemesis, right? So, Khan was very keen on that, and the steps to it. There was some deceptive elements to it. Again, I mean, overall plot not so much, but just in terms of, I felt like they were trying to make a new Wrath of Khan, but for the next generation. Here's somebody who's driven to get at Picard in the same way,
Yeah, I remember reading about it before it came out. Because back in the day, Star Trek fans, we would just be like, whatever you see, like in the magazines at the store, you see like a little Star Trek magazine or whatever, or TV guide. And I remember like the producers were saying, hey, what a good Star Trek movie needs is a good heavy, is a good villain. And we wanted people to know that this movie is about that. So we're just calling it Nemesis. We're throwing it out there. And that was supposed to be Shinzon, right? Shinzon was supposed to be the big nemesis to Picard. Do you guys think they achieved that?
No.
Not as strong as they could have.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was obvious that he was the baddie, but there was so much potential left out there. Yeah. It makes me sad.
Yeah.
I could tell because as soon as I asked that, you guys both went. Watch the replay. You guys both kind of got sad. Like, I don't want to say anything bad about this. Yeah, I really liked the movie a lot. I remember watching it in the theaters when it came out. And I remember I think it was this one, there were trailers for it on TV where the ships just kind of like crash into each other or something, right? Was that the one?
That scene was epic.
Right. And so I remember seeing that and going like, oh my God, I cannot wait for this movie. And Tom Hardy, obviously, he did a phenomenal job. We got to finally see some Remans. Sorry, what were you going to say?
I remember the scene after the ships crashed, and at some point in time, Picard's like, put it on the main view. Oh.
Yes. Yes.
Like the whole front of the ship was crashed.
See, this is one of these things where we've got to watch Nemesis again. I haven't seen it. I feel like I haven't seen it since it was in the theaters, probably. I think I watched it 3 or 4 times in the theaters, and then that was it. And, Ron Perlman, God bless Ron Perlman, who we love, or I love, he was amazing. It really made me want more Remans and more Remans and more Remans.
Mm-hmm.
I forget what his name or title was.
Viceroy.
Viceroy, that's it. I was like, it's not matriarch. It was one of those words like that.
Yeah.
Well, see, I have a really weird connection to this because you guys got to see it in the theaters, and I had to watch it on home DVD. But I watched it right after seeing my first episode of Star Trek because I saw a box set DVDs on Star Trek The Next Generation. I was like, I could probably check that out. Nothing's going to be weird. And then, you see the ending, and I'm just sitting there in my 13-year-old mind going, what the hell was that?
That's why people hate it is the loss of a beloved character.
Exactly. I don't even know who you are, but man alive, that was brutal. So I have to go back and actually watch it. I've only seen it once. Believe it or not, that was back when I was a kid.
Actually, they prepped us for that again in the trailers on TV. You're watching TV back in whatever we just said it was, 2001 or 2002, right? You're watching TV, and this commercial comes on, and they're crashing, and at the very end it says, "Not everybody makes it out alive," or something like that. Basically they insinuate that one of the 7 characters are going to die. And so we all wanted to guess, like, who is it? And of course I guessed it was going to be Data because that's the one. He's an android. They can kind of duplicate. It's kind of like a way to kill a beloved character without actually killing somebody.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like the George O thing with Discovery, where like dead, but like we can kind of have her come back.
Yeah,
no one's truly dead in sci-fi.
Famous quote. Yeah,
that is true.
The one thing that was frustrating in that movie was like they found B4 on the planet, and like there's no comment, no reference whatsoever to lore through the whole thing. I'm like, y'all remember the last time this happened, right? There was a problem.
Exactly.
No comment, no reference to it at all.
And speaking of beloved characters, Melissa Longo is popping in. Whoa, look at that. There's even video.
Whoa. Whoa.
To you.
Hi. Hello. Hi.
All right. So, Melissa, we're actually talking about Star Trek Nemesis, since that turned 19 yesterday. 19. Do you remember watching it in the theaters? Do you remember the first time you watched it? Is it your favorite Star Trek movie ever behind Into Darkness?
I do remember the first time I watched it. First time I watched it was about 2 hours ago.
Wait, what?
Really?
What?
Yeah. I'd never seen it.
You'd never seen the final Next Generation movie?
No.
That's so cool. Like, I'm so jealous. I wish I still had more Next Generation to watch that I hadn't seen, Wow.
Yeah.
How'd you like it?
I thought it was right.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, that's not very
What?
good.
No, it was all right. I had heard some grumblings about it, but I've heard some grumblings about it, but it wasn't nearly as bad as the grumblings. Kind of like with Enterprise. People always like to poo-poo Enterprise, and it's actually a really good show. In my opinion.
Yeah.
Yep.
In my opinion. So, yeah. I like Tom Hardy. That's his name, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, as an actor, I think he's brilliant in most things that I've seen him in, and this didn't disappoint either. So.
And Hellboy was in it. Ron Perlman, who everybody knows and loves, I think. Everybody at home that's watching, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give Nemesis? 1 to 10. Be honest or lie. Fuck it. What do we care? Right? Whatever. Give it a 15. We're not coming after you. We don't know where you live. Yeah, but I liked it a lot because of the new things that it introduced. Like there was the Remans, which I thought looked really cool. And they had those little ships. And I wish I could remember what those little ships were called. What are those things? Those little Reman ships, those little daggers. Scorpions. I think they were called Scorpions.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, this is, yeah.
I don't know. But,
wait, Melissa, you just watched it. What were they called?
Yeah.
I can't remember. I don't, sometimes I don't catch these things because there's a lot going on. Just in general.
Yeah. Well, you got to pay attention. There's new character names. There's new designs. There's emotions. Little ship names. That's on a 5th rewatch.
Yeah. But Clone Picard's ship, when it was faced off with the Enterprise, reminded me of a giant alligator. I was like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, that's Nemesis. You guys want to rate it? I haven't seen it recently enough.
I
to
saw
give
about
it
a year
rating.
ago.
Okay.
I saw about a year. It's funny, actually, I watched it with a friend who had watched it first run, but hadn't watched it since then. At the end, I remember we got to the end and she was like, wait, Data's dead? I was like, you didn't remember that?
I know. I was like,
she completely blocked that out of her memory.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's not true. It's not in my head canon. I refuse.
Yep. Which for her favorite character is Data too. So just like,
oh.
Yep. No,
I give it like a 7. You know, it was good. It was enjoyable. I liked it.
What about you, Katie and Melissa? Katie's going to be harsh.
I always am. Apparently, whenever I'm with BGC, I always it's my least favorite of the next gen movies.
Okay. Wow.
I mean, Generations. It's like tied with Generations, but I mean, it's still Star Trek, and it's still a key part of my journey of Star Trek because it was like a what is happening moment. So I always remember it fondly for nostalgia purposes. But I'm gonna have to go back and watch it. It's been a solid 12 years since I watched it last.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I know what I'm doing after work tomorrow once the tornadoes stop.
Nice. Melissa, you just watched it freshly. It's still oozing in your mind. What would you give it?
I'd give it a 7.
Okay.
Yeah. It was a solid movie, and I wouldn't say it's my favorite movie, but it was a solid movie. And I had heard rumors of Data dying, but I'd never seen it. So obviously, so this was like, oh, how sweet of Data to sacrifice himself.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't Picard
rated it between 5 and 7?
Yeah, when Picard puts the comm badge on him, I think, or when Data puts the comm badge on Picard, doesn't Picard just say Data? And that's it, right? And then he goes,
Goodbye.
That was such a nice little moment. Yeah. Like Mohammed's saying, Chuck A gives it a 5, Linda gives it a 7, Elvis Stooges gives it a 5, Medallion gives it a 6, Scimitar is the name of the ship. Thank you, Medallion. But that was the main ship, I think. I think the little ships were called Scorpions. Peter H gives it a 7. Scorpion
Jensen
Fighters.
says zippy blippers.
Right.
Zippy blippers.
I like that one. This sounds like a Galaxy Quest thing, though.
Kind of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, Orville. Like, what are those called? That zippy blippers? Whatever.
Mm-hmm.